Hi friends! Today we're rolling into the Yano series by Beautylish. I bought these brushes on release day and I was very excited upon seeing the promo photos on the email. We'll roll into those details, but if it's your first time here, hi, I'm Alicia. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things, all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeup, so head over to my Instagram. I just realized that I'm not wearing mascara and I kind of like it. Maybe I'll change my mind. You never know. Two things that intrigued me about this set was the fact that it was a face brush set, which I tend to gravitate more towards because when it comes to face products, though I love eyeshadow and a beautifully crafted eyeshadow brush can change the eyeshadow game like whoa, I just greatly admire the results from a beautifully crafted Fude brush when it lays down powder like silk, when no matter how many pouches you apply on your skin, it just ends up looking still like skin, but just beautifully flawless and radiant. And that's what I've been encountering ever since I dove deep into Fude world. Number two is the design of the handles. They very much remind me of Hakuhodo brushes. They are vermilion set, which I still want to grab. Just putting it out there. But the overall design and aesthetic of the Yano series brush set, I was like, sign me up. I have the product page up here. I gotta put on my glasses. I can't share from here. Beautylish did not disclose the manufacturer. All we know is that these are handcrafted in Japan, in Kumano specifically. The entire set is $475. Before you freak out, timestamps will be down below if you wish to skip over to whichever portion. Okay, for $475, you get 5 brushes. And if this is your first time encountering that price for brushes, anything handmade in Japan is going to be significantly more expensive than anything that's machine made. The bristles are hand bundled. They are a special combination of goat and squirrel. So the intricacies of how the brushes are made, the materials used for the ferrule and the handle all contribute to the high price. Experience makeup application so luxe, you'll look forward to it every day. That is the truth! The Yano series face set is a curated collection of makeup brushes designed to deliver the ultimate in luxury, whether you're blending, buffing, or finishing your look. Each brush is meticulously handcrafted by master artisans in Kumano, the brush making capital of Japan. Again, we have 5, 01 powder, 02 angled powder, 03 highlight, 04 contour, and 05 small powder. Silky natural hair fibers are bundled by hand for the perfect balance of shape, softness, and unparalleled performance. Uncut bristles diffuse powders seamlessly across the skin, leaving behind an airbrush veil of color, what I was talking about before, okay? Without streaking, scratching, or disturbing product underneath. Thank you so much. Lightweight maplewood handles feel comfortable in the hand, giving you the control you need to master your makeup application. Tell them, Beautylish. After use, gently wipe brush clean with a cloth, wash occasionally with a gentle brush cleanser, and lay flat to dry. Recommended for use with powder products only. Okay. The hair type is a combination of gray squirrel and SUQQU goat, which I love because you get the pickup from the SUQQU goat hair and you get that silky airbrush feel from the squirrel, and together, unstoppable. We'll go over the brushes individually, take a look at the b-roll I took, and then after all of that, we'll go over the comparisons, setting them up against brushes I already own. First up, we have brush number 1. The 01 powder brush retails for $175. It says here this full fluffy powder brush picks up just the right amount of product and disperses it with a whisper soft touch. Perfect for applying, setting, or finishing powder all over your face. Now the 01 is all gray squirrel, and that just lends a super silky soft touch to the skin. If you don't like a lot of powder but you still need to apply it on your skin and you found that several brushes you have used in the past just dispenses too much, squirrel hair is the perfect type for this task. That goes along with any cheek product that you encounter you feel that you apply too much of. It's just going to apply the right amount. Completely and utterly beautiful. Its paddle shape just woos me in, let me tell you. I love paddle shaped powder brushes because I feel I could just get a beautiful lay down without over manipulating the makeup. Here I use it to apply my SUQQU loose powder, which is holy grail. You could also use this to apply a highlighter that's very much like the Pat McGrath, which I actually have been doing with my highlighters. I just take it and strike it across my entire cheek, and this type of a highlighter, the formulation allows for that. It just lays over the skin beautifully. But again, a powder brush this soft and silky blends the powder perfectly so it doesn't look textured or artificial on the skin. I also used it here to apply the Natasha Denona Tan and Bronze Glow Powder Bronzer from her palette. And again, because of its paddle shape, you can apply product right at the edge of the brush and strike it in the hollows of the cheeks and get a beautifully perfect application. Dare I say, you could also use this brush to apply blush, something that's more of like a lighter wash of color. You could place over the apples of the cheeks and pounce it all over that area, or apply it higher on the cheekbones if you wanted a lifted, more sculpted look from your blush. And of course, this is more than ideal to finish your makeup with. What it will do is melt all your products together so they appear seamless, and the brush literally fuses the product into your skin. I'm not even kidding. And again, the softness is just cannot be ignored. You know what though? I'm gonna pull you in a little closer. That's enough. If you could just see how this brush moves, it's just beautifully silky and very, again, I've said this several times, intuitive to use. If you're not too keen on using a Fude brush, you don't know what products to use it with, upon immediate contact to your skin, you know and can kind of feel out what this brush can be used for. And you can experiment all you want. Again, make sure you exclusively use this brush with powders. You don't want to ruin the hair with a cream or liquid product. And man, oh man, you're gonna have a ball. In terms of versatility, sure, you could probably get away with applying a loose powder under your lash line. I would probably just pounce it all over my eye to get it on there. But I know because buying the whole set is very expensive, and if you're looking out for a brush that can do it all, dare I say, besides one brush, 4 out of the 5 can mostly do it all. And we'll get to those in a minute. Next up, we have the 02 Angled Powder Brush. The 02 Angled Brush retails for $120, and this is a mixture of gray squirrel and SUQQU goat hair. Sculpt, contour, and highlight your cheekbones, forehead, and more with this angled powder brush. The unique shape glides along the curves of the face without moving foundation underneath. I have to say, this might be my favorite because it is intentionally angled. You see it's significantly shorter on one side and the other is longer, but that just makes for an ideal platform to not only apply blush, but I've been using the heck out of this brush with the Pat McGrath highlighter. I can certainly get away with using the Powder 01 brush, but this right here, because I strike across the apples of the cheeks and then over my cheekbone, and again, this surface just beautifully hugs this area of the cheek and again lays down the product seamlessly. It is perfect. And this has goat, so if you want a little more product pickup from what the 01 can pick up, you might want to choose a 02, especially because it's already $120, okay? You could also get away with under eye, lay down with loose powder or pressed powder. Beautifully perfect for bronzer. I apply the same Natasha Denona Tan and Bronze Powder Bronzer here, and again, this angled surface area of the brush just perfectly places that powder product into the hollows of the cheeks. The flatter surface area of the brush beautifully applies blush. I mean, you know just how the brush feels where it goes on your cheek. And again, like I said with the 01, you could place it on the apples of your cheek or bring it up higher closer to the temple. And this is unlike anything I have in my collection, actually. So if I needed to pick one from the whole set, it will be the 02 because I do not have an off-kilter asymmetrical angled brush like this. Is beautifully unique, and the shape is gorgeous. And in my opinion, based on all the brushes that I've used in this set, the most versatile in all the tasks you can cover with it, as well as the natural hair profile. You have both the squirrel and the goat hair in the brush. Next up, we have number 3, highlight. This brush retails for $75, and this is all gray squirrel. Bring out the best in your highlighting powders with brush 03's softly rounded shape. The exquisitely soft bristles create a radiant lit from within glow exactly where you want it. This is my favorite type of design. I love it because it's pinched, and I compare this in my faves video with the Wayne Goss airbrush. That one's a touch thinner. This one has more bristle in there, and I love it for under eye setting. I use it here to apply my SUQQU loose powder under the eye. I believe it was this brush that I used. It could have been the number 5 or the number, yes, the number 5 is the other teardrop highlighter brush, to apply the Natasha Denona Glow Impact powder from her most recent Mini Love Cheek Duo. Because this is gray squirrel, it's not going to pick up as much as goat, but because of that, you can successfully layer these products without them looking heavy on the skin. It's not going to build up in that thick powdery way that sometimes can happen when you apply too much product. But again, the gray squirrel hair is just perfect for that task because it'll lay down the right amount. I also use this brush to apply my SUQQU blush. Although small, because it is so silky soft, you can whip around blush in a fashion that of course you don't need to do with the 02 or the 01. The 02 and the 01 will just pat down the color, whereas you might have to do a little swirl and twirl to get the blush where you want it on the apples of the cheeks. If not swirl and twirl, definitely the pat and the tap can get it on there. And don't feel pressed to do the swirl and twirl because again, gray squirrel lays down product like magic, okay? It doesn't need to be over manipulated. The softness of the bristles will just disperse the product seamlessly in a way that you don't have to work. Okay, the brush is there for you. It's the bridge between you and gorgeously applied makeup. That's just how it goes. And I think I used this brush to apply the bronzer as well. If not, I could apply a little bit of bronzer here now. This is in the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrushed Bronzer in number 2 medium. I think if you want a more concentrated placement of color, the 03 brush is perfect because it's pointed, and if you want it just here in the hollows of the cheeks, if you feel using a bigger brush just does not yield the best results, you feel it always looks like you apply too much, then 03 I think can serve as a beautifully designed bronzer and or contour brush. And I failed to mention this in the beginning when talking about under eye setting. Of course, whenever you have this point, it just fits perfectly here under the lash line, does not feel stabby at all. It applies loose powder and even pressed powder beautifully under your lash line. Up next, we have the 04. 04 retails for $40. I think this might be the cheapest. Yes, this is the most least expensive out of the bunch. The contour brush here, designed with densely packed bristles, gray squirrel and SUQQU goat in a flat top shape. Brush number 4 buffs and blends contour powder and bronzer flawlessly. The small size makes it easy to sculpt hard to reach areas like the hollows of the cheeks and nose. If anything, this is probably the least versatile brush out of the set, where in that the design makes it very direct for what this brush can do. Here I use to apply even more bronzer from the Natasha Denona palette into the hollows of the cheeks, and it stamps the product there. So if you want more of a sculpted look, this is the brush for you. And despite the fact that it's flat topped, it has a lot more movement. And I did say, I'm gonna call myself out, I was gonna keep comparisons until the end, but I just wanted to quickly show you contour brush from the Chikuhoro Z series. It is significantly smaller, and when I saw this brush in real life, I didn't realize how small it was going to be, which is silly because dimensions are provided on this brush. I just failed to measure them. I do much prefer the Yano brush because since this is smaller, it doesn't move on the skin like the 04 does. And again, if you want just like that more precise placement of color, this is going to be great. I wanted to experiment with the Charlotte again because this formula is very silky and not as aggressive as Natasha's bronzer in the Tan Bronze and Glow, but just wanted to quickly show you what happens when you stamp the product on with this brush. However, though, you can successfully blend it out. Again, it's long enough in the bristle length that it has really nice movement without manipulating the foundation underneath. And that's gorgeous. Now be careful here, because if you're going to apply product in this manner, choose a shade and undertone that you don't have to over blend. Like, I wouldn't use tan, for instance, from the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer line. I wouldn't use a bronzer that's a little deeper for me on the spectrum. I will probably use that with a longer bristle brush, the 01 or the 02 from the Yano set. But using the bronzer that's maybe 1 or 2 shades deeper than me, I will use this brush with to get just a sharper contour. And even if I just stamped it, it's just beautifully airbrushed in finish. Over here on the temples, and also I like to take it on the edge of the brush here, right on the bridge of the nose, the sides of it. And I don't know if I used this brush on my eyes. I think I did. I'm trying to find the footage here. Yes, I used this brush also to apply some highlighter. Of course, it'll be very precise. Not my most ideal brush to use for a highlighter application, but you most certainly can stamp on more on the very high points of your cheekbone. I think I might have used this brush to apply eyeshadow on my crease, but the brush I did use, and I failed to mention this while speaking about it, is the 03. I use the 03 to apply a beautiful SUQQU shadow from one of their spring summer quads. Now I know I have a lot of eye space and I could get away with this, but if you have smaller eyes, because it's pinched, you could at least use this brush to just blend out the shadow once you've applied it with a smaller blending brush. You could also wash out the color here a little bit with this brush. So even though the 03 is smaller, you can get away with not only cheek product application, but eyeshadow. If you're a one and done type of a person, you could even put eyeshadow on the tip of the brush and strike it across your lid. I know I'm revisiting the 03 again because I totally forgot that I did my eyeshadow as well with a lot of these brushes. And dare I say, you could apply loose powder with the 03 as well. It'll take you a lot longer, but you know, if you're just buying one brush and you want to get the most out of it, that's what I would recommend. And if you want, and I'm going into the SUQQU Quad 04, the Suminadeshiko. I don't know if I said that right, I'm so sorry. I'm taking one of the shades on the edge, and I'm just taking it right here on the crease. Now, I'm not saying you should do this, but listen, if you end up getting the whole set and you want another task for the contour brush, you can make it happen. Is it the most ideal? Probably not, but listen, that's pretty. And then, like I said before, you could take the 03 and just whip the edges there to further blend it out. And last but not least, we have the 05 small powder brush. This brush retails for $65. It says here, you'll wonder how you ever lived without this multitasking brush. The tapered tip and feather-light bristles are perfect, and we're looking at Gray Squirrel and Goat Psycho Ho again for setting concealer, powdering the T-zone, and softening the edges of blush, bronzer, and highlighter. So we're looking at a lot of the tasks we went over. I think I used this brush to apply loose powder, but if not, I could do it again. Compared to the 03, the 03 is flat on both sides, whereas 05 is round all over. And you also see that the taper starts a little lower, I think, on the 05, and has more so of a, I think, more pronounced taper than a lot of the brushes that I have that take on a similar teardrop shape. I'll apply pat under eye blurring powder with the 05, and of course, as you can see, just beautifully perfect. It's tapered and fits well under the lash line, does not feel stabby or scratchy alongside of it. I also use this brush, I think, in B-roll to apply a SUQQU blush in the same manner that I did with the 03. You could tap it on the apples of the cheeks, you could swirl it around, and I think because the 03 was just the Gray Squirrel, if you wanted more pickup, the 05 has Goat. If you wanted the blend that's going to pick up more product than the brush that's exclusively made of Gray Squirrel, then the 05 is for you. Basically, all the tasks that I went over for the 03, the 05 can accomplish flawlessly. Concealer setting, as you just saw, loose powder all over the face, setting, finishing the cheek products after all of them been applied, tapping on the blush, striking down the bronzer or the contour, and of course, highlight. Why not going in with Natasha Denona's Mini Love with the 05 right on the center of it all. Just right there. And I think this brush picks up a little more from this gelée because the 03 is all squirrel and it could be a little too soft for this type of a product. But if you wanted more product pickup, then the blend of squirrel and goat will be perfect. You could probably get away with eyeshadow application with this brush as well. More so definitely than the 04 contour. But I think the 03 is a little better if you wanted to use that brush for eyeshadow. If you want to use for eyeshadow. And I thought, you know what, let's put on mascara now. I think we can complete the look. However, if you don't like a lot of powder under the eyes, then I will go with the 03 because the gray squirrel won't pick up as much or lay down as much for that matter than the squirrel and goat hair blend. All right, look is complete. I have to say, friends, this is a solid face set. You have the limitations, of course, in terms of the brushes only being able to use with powder products. But listen, I know for myself, I have a lot of powder products, so that's fine. I have plenty of brushes that I can use with my creams and liquids, but to know no matter what brush I pick up from the set, the application will be beautifully flawless, just easy in execution. I mean, you cannot go wrong with any of them for that matter. In terms of versatility, again, I just adore the 02. I don't have a brush like this in my collection. I think it's so uniquely shaped, and because of that, the spectrum of different application tasks you could use with this brush, endless. Between the 03 and the 05, I have to go with the 03. I know because of the teardrop shape and it's flatter on both sides. I have an affinity for that shape. I don't know why. 05 though is gorgeously beautiful. I mean, do not feel like I'm just pushing this far away. It's still a neighbor. I do prefer the flatter teardrop shape from this brush, but acknowledge the beauty of a regularly designed teardrop brush like this one. I think my critique would be if picking from one of these, since these are so similar in shape and task, maybe another brush that was between the size of the 01 and 02 would have been nice to have in the collection, because again, we have the 04 here. Let me put these in order. You have the 04, which is so specific in its task. I don't know if anyone would use a brush like this for their bronzer and contour exclusively. They will probably use another brush like the 03 or 5 with that task and make it happen, or even a bigger, fluffier brush. I know many people tend to gravitate toward a bigger, fluffier brush for their bronzer application because they feel more comfortable with it. They feel there's more room for error with a bigger brush, whereas a smaller one, you are picking up more product and definitely have to be more keen on your blending, most definitely. I think what I would say is to take out either the 04 or the 03 and create another brush that was between 01 and 02, or maybe keep 03 and 05 and pick another brush for 04. That's just my take on it. Overall is a beautifully designed set, but I can observe alternate realities for the set in terms of what could have been also. Comparisons, we finally arrived. I have to compare it to the latest and the greatest, the Beautylish Lunar New Year, Year of the Ox brush. Not quite the same, I have to say. The 01 is paddle shaped. Although they're oval, you see how much more fluffy the ox brush is, and also the bristle is shorter. You have more of like a paddle type of an experience with the Yano 01, where I feel this is more circular in feel and in design. Now I know you all know. This up against the beloved Z series from Chikuhodo, the 09 brush. I purchased the 09 before the coveted 01, and I expressed this before. I love this brush, again, for its paddle shape and just its intelligent taper here. It's perfect for bronzer as well as loose powder application. It has more bristle than the Yano 01, and I think, dare I say, definitely fuller. I don't think there's many bristles in the Yano series brush. Maybe that's why it feels it has more movement. but there's a little more plush to this. So if you were deciding just on one brush and you didn't want to get the whole Yano set, I would still go with the 09 because it's so beautiful. Again though, I appreciate the Yano 01. It's beautiful. It's lightweight. It has the flat sides. Okay. I mean, I'm not brushing this brush away. I definitely think it's silky smooth and lovely to use. And of course, up against the SUQQU 01, this is just round, different shape altogether. I'm holding up the wrong brush. Excuse me, sorry. Different brush altogether. You just see the stark difference here between the two. One that I thought about was the Koi series brush from SUQQU. I think the bristles on this guy is just a lot longer and, dare I say, rounder too. The beloved Kazan. The Kazan squirrel is softer than gray squirrel. So if you want something softer than this, then I would go with the Kazan brush. And up against the Yano 01, you have a little more roundness from the Kazan as well as more bristle. This is just more of a luxe experience than the Yano. But if you haven't even dived into Fude before, then the Yano 01 is a good place to start. And all of my other brushes, like my MKUM, with the Sakura, this one here. No, this is the Year of the Rat brush. This is the MKUM. I think still different from the Yano. The Yano has a little more splay. The brush that is coming to mind comparing the 05 is of course the SUQQU. I think this is, you know what, I have the website right here. Let me go check it out. I believe this is the SUQQU Z series number 2, and this is the Yano 01. The 02 from the Z series has a little more bristle, and also because it has more bristle, it doesn't have as much movement like the 01. But if you want something slightly bigger, then this one's for you. Then here is the Surratt brush, their highlighter brush. Did I even wash? I don't remember. I don't think I washed it yet. So this has more fluff potential, but you see that the 05 from the Yano series is quite smaller. Even here from the top, you got a lot more bristle from the Surratt brush. Now that I'm looking at the Surratt's blush brush, this is probably a shape I would have liked to see from the Yano series if they were to eliminate the 03 or the 05. Because again, the 03 and the 05 both have the teardrop shape. They come to a point. Perhaps a smaller cheek brush that had a more of a dome shape would have been a nice alternative. And let's take a look at Wayne's airbrush up against the Yano 03. You see that Wayne's brush is smaller, doesn't have as many bristles, and from the top here you can detect more fullness from the 03. I still love my little airbrush, but dare I say, because it's smaller, I could get away with tasks like bronzer and blush, but I feel more comfortable using the 03 with blush and bronzer. And lastly, we have the 05 up against the Hakuhodo G5521B. I believe this is squirrel as well. This is slightly rounder. The 05 comes to a sharper tip, whereas the Hakuhodo rounds out more at the top. Both I use for similar tasks, under eye setting, highlighter, even blush, buffing out the cheap products once you're done with the complexion. Those are all the standout comparisons. Let me know if I'm missing any. But again, I think we all know that if we are into Fude, like really into Fude, we can come up with several reasons why we need brush set, and brush. If I didn't buy the Yano set, I would have been fine. Right, I still have my Koyudo brushes, Chikuhodo Soniji, Wayne Goss, Refer, of course. My complexion would have been fine, right? I wouldn't have gone into dire circumstances if I didn't buy the Yano series brush set. But I didn't have the Yano series brush set, fam, so that's why I had to get it. My main point is, if you already have brushes, if you already bought from Fude Beauty or even Beautylish, because they also carry Koyudo and Chikuhodo, you're fine, right? You are definitely fine. You don't need these. Again, I just love Fude so much, and I wanted to see what these brushes can do, what they had to offer, and I'm happily impressed. I've been using this set all of January, or all of the majority of January, ever since I received it in the mail. I use them with my other brushes. I rotate them in and out. I can get granular about it and reach out for a certain brush, you know, especially if I'm working with something like a powder foundation. Maybe I'm a little more selective with the brush that I use. Overall though, my brush game is solid, and like I mentioned at the beginning of this review, the 02 is my favorite brush out of the set. If I would recommend one, it will be this one, because I don't have a brush like this. The unique shape and cut to the bristles. And I say cut, these are not hand cut. The brush was hand bundled in this way to achieve this shape. And I think that just makes it so much more majestic to me, and why I would highly recommend this one if you were only able to buy one or choose just to get one. And that is it, fam. Let me know if you picked up the Yano series from Beautylish, whether it was the set or an individual brush. Drop in the comments below any other outstanding comparisons that I might have missed. I'll see you down there. And until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you here again with another Fude brush extravaganza, monthly favorites, or get ready with me. Take care, and I will see you again soon.